In today's video, I want to share the event that started us on our path to embracing Swedish death cleaning and share the three benefits that you can reap. I need to start off with a confession because apparently I'd been living under a rock. I had no idea that what we've been doing for the last 2 years actually had a name to it. But apparently, there is an author out there by the name of Margareta Magnusson who wrote a book in 2017 called Swedish Death Cleaning. And in it, the premise is that you should start to clear out your home well in advance so that your family members aren't burdened by having to do that after you pass. If you're new here, hi, I'm Vicki. So now let's get into the event that prompted me to start embracing Swedish death cleaning. So last year, my father-in-law had a fall in his home and he spent a couple of days in the hospital and then several weeks in a rehab facility. And at the 5-week mark, the facility called my husband to let him know that they've done all that they could do for him and that they were going to discharge him to a skilled nursing facility. And they told us that my father-in-law had basically given up and they just felt that he no longer wanted to live. Knowing what I know about the situation, I honestly believe that. But it wasn't because my father-in-law didn't want to live anymore. He didn't want to live in a facility because the year prior, my husband finally got him to open up about how he wanted to live in his later life. And they made a promise that he would stay in his home as long as it was safe to do so. So he had been in the facility for about 5 weeks and called my husband pretty much every single day to remind him, hey, I'm still here and you haven't come to get me. And my husband had to hold back the tears and tell his dad, I can't bring you home until you get stronger. I'm pretty sure that broke my father in law's spirit. He probably thought that his son just basically lied to him and wasn't going to come and get him. With every sigh on those phone calls, I could tell my father in law was losing his faith in his son, and I wasn't going to let that happen. At the time, I worked at one of the biggest healthcare insurance companies here in America. So I reached out to my network of colleagues, of clinicians and doctors and social workers to find out what would we need to do to bring dad home. And armed with that information, we set off and started Project Bring Dad Home. So we had 7 days to make this happen, and we had three objectives. One, we would clear out my husband's old childhood bedroom to make room for a live in caregiver. Two, we would clean up all financial paperwork, get any temptation for anybody out of the house because we knew we would have a team of people coming in and out because of my father in law's condition. And three, install all of the safety features that were recommended to us when we had the home health inspection before his discharge from the hospital. So, what we thought was going to be a really quick and easy thing, because if you've ever been to my in law's house, it basically looked completely spotless and clean all the time. So, we were really surprised when we started and we found stuff everywhere. Behind every single closet door, it was just jam packed, almost like a cartoon where you'd open it up and things would fall out on you. And behind the dressers, there were things. And we really realized at that moment that we had bitten off way more than we could chew. So now this had ballooned into a huge effort. And so we decided there was no way we were going to be able to implement our original plan, which was to clean and go as we went along. So we actually decided that we were going to just stuff everything in garbage bags, dump them at our house, and we'd worry about sorting through at a later date because there was just so much. And to give you an idea of just how much, we filled the back of an SUV with the rear seats down twice. We filled the interior and the trunk of a four-door sedan twice. And we filled the back of a minivan with the seats removed once. So the rush to clear out so much stuff and get the house ready for someone who was going to have major mobility issues, it was a stress that neither one of us had anticipated. And we're trying to do this while working our full-time jobs, taking care of my mother-in-law who was also having health issues, doing trust administration, or I should say trying to start trust administration and taking over. And it was a big epiphany for us to see how things went south so quickly in front of our eyes at his parents' house that we vowed that we would never let this happen to us. So there are three benefits to Swedish death cleaning, that I took from this. The first one is avoiding the stress of having to do this in a rush. We had 7 days to clear out this house, and the way we chose to do it was just basically bag it, throw it someplace else. And when we got that stuff to our home, and like I said, I mind you, we only cleared out just a very few spaces. It wasn't an entire house because the house, for the most part, was clean and looked like there were no problems. It was just the things that were behind closed doors. So, taking probably the equivalent of maybe 2.5 rooms, it took us 3 months to sort through all that. We were basically sorting through garbage bags that had a mix of important information and trash all mixed into one. So, to give you an idea, there were receipts that dated back to the 1990s, early 1990s, of every double A Duracell battery they'd ever purchased. There were the tags to pretty much every single article of clothing that they had worn. So when they wore it, they took the tags off, but things that were still brand new were still in the closet with tags. There were jars, and I'm talking jars. Some of them were so old that you could see that they were dated back to 1970s. And when I say jars, they were these I gotta have them, hold on to them in case I ever need them jars. They weren't jars of food. The other thing were the multiple items of clothing. At one point, I think I counted 7 pairs of the same exact dress, women's dress slacks with the tag still on them. You might see this and think they're just hoarders. But after exercising the medical power of attorneys and really digging into their health issues, it really was a matter of cognitive decline. Cognitive decline is so much more than memory loss. It impacts your ability to make sound judgment. It can impact your mobility and your physical strength as well. So, what we noticed were they could no longer make the decision around what to throw away, what was beyond repair. They also had no idea that they had just purchased that pair of black pants. And so that black pair of pants kept getting repurchased and repurchased. And the other reason that we were able to decipher was they no longer had the physical ability to look in their closets and to pull things out. So if I can't see it and get to it, then I don't have it. And so, because of the cognitive decline issues, that was the major reason why we had to remove all of the items from the house to do all of our sorting. We might have been able to get away with sorting a lot of that stuff there, but because my mother in law was there and because everything that we took out of the closet, it sparked I didn't know I had that. And she needed to figure out that it was brand spanking new. Why are we taking it out of the house? Or it was broken, but no, 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 no. You don't throw these things away. Somebody could use it. The second benefit is that you create a peaceful and simplified space. I saw firsthand the benefits of a simplified space. And the reason why I say this is my in laws, like I said, their house was not dirty, it was not junky. These were things that were hidden behind closed doors. But my father in law, being the military man that he is, he had previously mentioned to my husband about a closet that was just so packed with stuff and just drove him crazy. Well, we didn't realize it was every closet in the house. We thought it was just the one. So when he came home from the hospital and he actually noticed that things were cleaned up and cleared up, the day he came home from the hospital, my father in law needed help with everything. He could not walk on his own. He needed help with activities of daily living, actually every activity of daily living. And so you could see where the doctors probably thought that he was losing his will to live because he couldn't feed himself anymore, couldn't brush his teeth anymore, he could hardly walk. But I think that was more just being from in the facility and that mental state of it's not my home, it's not my people, they're leaving me here to die, so I'm going to give up. And that completely changed once he got home into the home, I think, of his memory, because his memory wasn't of 2023. Their memories were starting to go back in time. So, back in time where the house was the way it used to be before they couldn't physically keep it up. And within 5 days of my father in law being home, he was almost back to himself. He was walking laps around the house in his walker. He was talking his memory, not like 100% there, but I'm going to say Dow was at least 85% there. And that was the benefit of having that home organized. And the third benefit is it prepares you for the future. When your house is in disarray or it's quote unquote a hoarding situation, you leave that to your family to clean up the mess once you're gone. And they're doing it either in a rush, like we did when we're trying to bring someone home, or they're doing it in a grief ridden state when you've passed away. And sound decisions are hard to make when you're rushed or you're grieving. So when you take the time to do this on your own, taking care of your own belongings, you know what's important. You know what you want to pass down. You can take your time and do it when it's not a rush situation. So we were really lucky that we were able to finish it all in 7 days. But the epiphany for us was we do not have any children. And what if this were me trying to get all of this done by myself in order to bring my husband home instead of him going to a facility? 10 times out of 10, he probably would have had to go to a facility because at 81 years old, I probably wouldn't have been able to get the house ready for him. This is the reason why you want to start doing a lot of this stuff early on when you have that physical and mental capability to take care of it. Now, I do have people that are in line to help take care of us, but still, we don't want to leave this to them. We want them to be able to love on us and spend time with us and not be running around scrambling like we did. So you can start today and pick a corner of your house or a drawer in your house and pull it all out and say, is it working or is it broken? If it's broken, throw it away. If it's working, evaluate it. Does it bring you joy? Is it of use? Is it something you want to pass down? And then make those decisions. Anything that is a no to, throw it in the pile, determine whether you want to donate it, give it to a friend, or sell it. Because now is the time to ensure a happier future. So if you made it this far with me, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.